Hello, Ravagers and Raconteurs. My name is TP Skyen, and welcome back to Mass Effect 3, where we have activated now the endgame. There's very little left at this point, except to return to the galaxy map and head towards Earth. As you can see, we literally can't go to any of the other galaxies anymore.
Commander, you've got a priority message from Admiral Hackett requesting to come aboard.
Permission granted.
Aye, Commander.
Finally get to see him in person. As the music swells and the camera just can't stop trying to communicate to you how important and how cool this guy is.
Commander,
Admiral?
are you ready to bring the might of the galaxy to bear on the Reapers?
Yes, sir.
And me in my hoodie.
Let's make sure the fleets are ready.
All fleets reporting in, sir.
Never before have so many come together from all quarters of the galaxy. But never before have we faced an enemy such as this. The Reapers will show us no mercy. We must give them no quarter. They will terrorize our populations. We must stand fast in the face of that terror. They will advance until our last city falls, but we will not fall. We will prevail. Each of us will be defined by our actions in the coming battle. Stand fast. Stand strong. Stand together. Hack it out. Shepard, the Sword fleets are ready to strike at the Reapers surrounding Earth. While they keep the enemy engaged, you and Hammer ground forces can take London.
London? Why aren't we hitting the Citadel directly?
Anderson can brief you on that. Admiral, how are you holding up?
We're ready to end this. But as you can see, the station's closed itself since it appeared over London.
Damn it. Gotta get the arms open to dock the Crucible.
Exactly.
But London is surrounded by Hades cannons. Hammer transports can't land while they're active. You'll lead a squadron of smaller shuttles. Infiltrate with a ground team to take out the cannons using heavy weapons. Hammer can land, and we'll set up a forward operations base.
I still don't see how we're getting to the Citadel from London.
The Reapers use this beam to transport humans, alive and dead, to the Citadel. From the FOB, Hammer will launch an all-out assault on the Citadel beam. Everyone who makes it that far will take the beam to the Citadel, then locate and activate the Citadel arm controls.
Once we see those arms, SHIELD fleet will escort the Crucible to the Citadel. But timing will be critical. We don't have enough firepower to keep the Crucible safe for long.
Nothing's ever easy. No reason it should start now.
It's desperate. I don't even want to guess at our odds.
But this is the only plan we have. If we wait, the Reapers bleed us slowly. Conventionally, we can't defeat the Reapers without the Crucible. Get the Citadel arms open. Commander, whatever the cost, we'll do the rest.
Yes, sir.
Good luck to all of us.
Right then. You know what? Screw having an optimal team. I want my friends. I want Garrus and Tali.
Approaching Sol Relay, Commander. We're through the relay in 30 seconds. Alliance fleet reporting. Turian fleet reporting. Asari fleet's reporting.
Quarian fleets accounted for and ready.
Geth fleet reporting. All fleets reporting in, Commander. Ready to engage on your command.
This is it, everyone. Be ready on my signal. Fire! On my command, engage the Reaper forces.
Roger that. All fighters on me.
Attack!
Acknowledge.
Breaking off. Preparing for descent.
The horrible space nerd in me, of course, wants to say that there's no sound in space, this doesn't make sense, but of course... First of all, who cares? Second of all, the Mass Effect games actually have an explanation for that, which is audio simulators in every
Commander.
single ship.
Be careful down there.
We'll be fine. Stay focused.
Aye, aye. Advanced teams are away. Hammer's in position and waiting for you guys to clear a path. Normandy's rejoining Sword.
Stay safe. I'll be back before you know it.
I'll hold you to that. Normandy out.
We're closing in on the LZ, Commander.
How's it look?
Like hell? Take a look for yourself.
Cynical though I am. Yeah, no, this every time. This gets to me, gets the blood pumping, gets my adrenaline up.
Sorry, Shepard. I know it isn't easy.
Barely even recognize it.
Shit! We got a lock. Hold on! Damn it!
Status.
That was the squad responsible for taking out that defense turret.
Who's on it now?
Nobody in the vicinity. All either deployed or shot down.
Drop us off.
Ma'am?
We have to take that thing out before Hammer can land.
Understood.
Change of plans, people. We're gonna take out that Hades cannon.
On foot? That'll be a challenge.
That down shuttle would have been carrying heavy weapons.
Perfect. You heard the man. Once we're clear, make your way to the crashed shuttle. We'll search the wreckage for heavy weapons.
With you, Shepard.
Okay. Of course, I had to go and make the mistake of, yeah. Yes, okay, thank you. I get it, I get it, I get it, I get it. Jesus Christ, fuck off.
I can't stay here, man.
Get clear. Come get us once we've taken that turret out.
Roger that.
I had to set it to the maximum difficulty, didn't I? I just remembered.
Let's move.
I can't fucking shoot for shit when that thing's going off. Well, that didn't do anything. Okay, how flanked am I right now? Not too badly, okay. Sabotage their weapons, please. Okay, maybe I'm a little badly flanked. Maybe it's kind of badly. Crowd control. Damn it, I thought they threw a grenade at me. Okay. This fight is...
Now, go, go!
This fight is kind of hellish
I can't stay here, man.
on any difficulty.
Come get us. Once we've taken that turret.
Okay.
This is Captain John. Hammer's getting torn apart. We need those guns offline now.
Right in the ass. There he is. Okay, hi, hello. Thank God for this gun. Oh, there's the second one. Okay, that took care of them. Fuck me.
Two guns down, but we still can't land.
Oh, good. I walked right into that. Where the fuck am I getting shot from? Okay. Would you stop with the shaking? Oh my god.
You got airborne hostiles inbound. Gonna try to keep them off you. Damn it, I'm hit. I'm alright.
You sure?
But I won't be picking you up. I gotta land this bird quick.
Get safe.
Anything for you.
Okay. Didn't die this time. So now where are we going? Oh, right, shuttle. Grabbing a mit kit first of all. Now we're looking for heavy weapons. That looks like a heavy weapon.
That's it. Last gun down. All Hammer teams, prepare for landing.
Anybody, come in. We need extraction.
Whew.
Heads up, we got company.
This is Commander Shepard. Any Alliance person?
Commander, prepare for extraction.
Hurry! We're taking fire!
Boy, that was close.
Get us out of here, Corporal. You okay?
I'm alive.
That you are, Commander.
Anderson,
I knew you wouldn't let me down, Shepard.
it's good to see you.
And you're a sight for sore eyes.
How are we looking?
Now that the heavy air defenses are dealt with, Hammer can land.
And not a moment too soon.
What's left of the Resistance is holding a forward operating base, but the Reapers are countering already. Once we regroup, it's gonna be up to Hammer to take up the fight.
It must have been brutal here. Cut off from the rest of the Alliance.
It's been touch and go from day one. But once we figured out the Reapers were focusing on the major centers, it became easier to avoid direct contact.
Until London.
Yeah. We held back as long as we could, sending in recon teams. Lost a lot of good men planning this attack. But with soldiers like Major Coates, and knowing you'd bring us help, we held on.
Without you and your resistance, we'd be dead in the water.
Yeah, the Admiral's being modest. He's the reason any of us are still alive.
Let's not start handing out medals just yet. This fight's just getting started. And Hammer better be ready for it.
Yeah, I don't know if Coates is like a character from the extended universe that they're bringing back for like a little fan service cameo here, but yeah.
They didn't start out together, but they're ready to stand side by side and win this war.
Good.
That's what it's gonna take.
We'll get it done, Anderson.
I was born in London.
Really?
The entire galaxy united. Too bad it took the Reapers to bring us together.
Shepard's the one that brought them together.
That's exactly what I meant. I know you didn't like leaving, Shepard. But nobody could have accomplished what you've done.
It's good to be back home.
There's the FOB.
Looks good. Give Hammer the all clear.
Oof. Hey, Mr. Beret Man, you might want to put on a helmet. Just for safety, you know.
Admiral, we've set up a command center in the building over there.
Looks like we've still got groups coming in.
Yes, sir, but not as many as we'd hoped.
Come see me when you're ready, Shepard.
Will do.
He's right. I expected to see more of Hammer here by now.
A lot of them won't be making it. You two go on ahead. I'll catch up.
The fighting here's been some of the worst on the planet. It looks bad, but there's still hope. And you're here. It'll do the troops good to see you. Bolster their resolve.
I'm just a soldier like them.
You might see yourself like that, but they don't. Like it or not, Commander, you're a hero to these men and women. Don't discount the effect that can have on them. I better go meet up with my battalion. I'll see you at the command center.
Yeah, sure. Major Coates, character who I definitely have a relationship with and who I would definitely expect to be so familiar with me. It is always a little bit awkward. It's like, because if I had, like, read whatever novel or comic that he's presumably from, maybe that would have given me a little charge. Like, oh, hey, it's that guy. Hey, I remember him from the thing. But since I haven't, it's just like, who the fuck is this stranger?
Hey, Commander.
What, no Lola?
Yeah, sorry.
You okay?
I don't know what I thought I'd feel coming back to Earth. I was ready to fight. Ready to die if I had to. But seeing everything like this...
Let's do to the Reapers what they did to us. Let's hurt them. But stay focused. Don't go losing the fight before throwing your first punch.
I know. You're right. So, I guess this is it, no? One more push. One last fight.
Not necessarily our last.
It's been an honor serving with you, Shepard.
You're a good man and a terrific soldier.
Thanks.
Whatever happens out there today, I know you'll make me proud.
That means a lot to me, ma'am. Good luck out there, Lola.
But yeah, this is,
Did Echo Team have a recommendation?
Affirmative. Advise delaying next wave of Hammer.
Damn. We'll get murdered out there.
We don't have a choice. Negative on that delay. We'll advise command of the situation, but Hammer proceeds as planned. Over.
Acknowledged.
So this is the Henry V.
Wait. Repeat your last.
Say again. Kensington reports 100% killed in action.
All of them?
About transmission, SOS reported they were being overrun by enemy forces. No word since. All personnel presumed dead.
Shit. Thompson and Dewhurst were posted there.
Maybe they got out. We don't know for sure.
We'll advise as more intel becomes available.
Anyway, this is... Stop interrupting. Fuck off! Shut up! Stop interrupting me. This is, Henry V stalking through the war camp on the eve of the battle, right? Like, that. It's that scene. It's the scene of, like, the commander, the general, going through the camp, connecting with the soldiers, feeling, like, the fear of the coming battle, feeling their anxiety, their pain, and... as Shakespeare used it, connecting with the common man and sort of, like, becoming reified as king through their connection to the common man, their understanding and like tolerance and kindness towards the struggles and the fears of the common soldier, the one who is not noble, you know. Mass Effect is using it a little bit differently. It's sort of a tradition that has proceeded from way back in Shakespeare's day, like from the Henriade up through war movies until forever. And so now here it is in Mass Effect, where it's not really a reference to Shakespeare as much as it's a reference to a lot of war movies who do this kind of thing, like the eve of the battle, like the calm before the storm, where all the soldiers are sitting around the camp and like some people are despairing and some people are sort of like getting angry and that's what this scene is, right? So, general notice, all firehouses. People, we're using the trucks as decoys now. There's no way we can handle the damage being done, and since they're apparently trying to take us out, we might as well be of what use we can be. Volunteers only. Coordinate with your evac services. God go with you, Central Dispatch. That's firefighters volunteering themselves as decoys to protect civilians. I'll say ACAB and fuck the army all day, but firefighters are generally good eggs.
Shepard?
How you holding up?
Restless. Everything depends on this. Think we have a chance?
There's always hope. That's how we got this far.
And you made it happen, Shepard. You're the reason we're here.
I've had people like you picking me up and dusting me off when I stumbled. Lost count of all the times you saved me.
Almost as many times as you saved me, hero lady.
Now kiss.
It always comes down to this. Feels like 1,000 years since we met on Eden Prime. So much has happened. It's hard to figure out how we got here.
You're a survivor, Ash. Always were.
I hope you're right.
I'm right. You're a fine soldier. A Spectre. We're lucky to have you.
Thanks, Commander. Okay.
One more hill to take, Lieutenant Commander. You ready?
Aye, aye, Captain. I'm ready.
Yes, Commander. Is there someone you'd like to reach?
Jacob Taylor.
Certainly. I'll connect you now.
Shepard, that you?
Jacob. Holding up?
Kicking ass, more like. My kill count's through the roof.
We'll meet and compare notches when this is over.
You got it. There's this, great little bar in Rio we have to check out.
I'm holding you to that. Give him hell, Jacob.
Yes, sir.
Shepard out.
Is there someone else I can connect you to?
Grunt.
Certainly. I'll connect you now.
About time you got here, Shepard. Didn't want to win this thing all by myself.
Good to see you back in action, Grunt.
Wouldn't miss it.
My good boy.
Shepard,
Yeah?
thanks for getting me out of that tank.
Sure, Grunt. It's been an honor.
Same here, Shepard. Okay, Grunt out.
Is there someone else I can connect you to?
Miranda Lawson.
Certainly. I'll connect you now.
Commander, hope you don't mind me crashing this little party of yours.
Please put on armor.
Not at all. Feeling better?
Much. Got a few sideways looks from Alliance brass when I offered to help. They can't be choosy at this point.
I'm glad you made it.
Shepard, I wanted to say goodbye.
Goodbye?
If we both come back from this at all, everything will be different.
Sure, everything will change, but on our terms. We've been running until now, Miranda. It has to stop.
I understand.
This isn't goodbye. You have to believe we're not done yet.
Listening to you, I can believe it.
Good. And Miranda.
Yes?
Be careful.
I promise. And you too, Shepard.
Is there someone else I can connect you to?
Jack.
Certainly. I'll connect you now.
Shepard? Shepard, is that you?
Jack, how are you guys?
Good so far. We're a ways south of your position. We saved some resistance fighters with barrier support. Bringing a bit more firepower your way.
I'll see you on the other side.
I won't let you down, Shepard. Go kick some ass.
You too.
I quite like the voice actress performance for Jack
Is there
here.
someone else I can connect you to?
She sounds a little bit more vulnerable than she ever has. Like a little bit more like frazzled. I kind of like that as like how she would talk when she's finally in an actual war zone rather than in the perpetual street fight that has been most of her life.
Zaid Masani.
Certainly. I'll connect you now.
Almost thought you weren't gonna make it, Shepard. Glad I was wrong.
You doing okay, Zaid?
Yeah. Hope you've got one hell of a speech to get everyone moving. Looks like we might need it. Never seen anything like this.
We don't stop it now, it gets worse.
No kidding. Just doesn't feel like a real ground war when your opponents are taller than goddamn skyscrapers. Still, no use talking about it. Ready to go when you are. Let's gut the bastards.
Is there someone else I can connect you to?
Steve Cortez.
Certainly. I'll connect you now.
Commander, you made it.
Glad I can say the same about you, Cortez. I've come too far to lose my pilot now.
I apologize for that. Things got too hot. Thought maybe I could do another run and head back around. Well, not one of my finer moments. If I'd been flying my old Trident, things might have been different.
What matters is we took out that AA gun.
Absolutely. And the Reapers are next.
That's the idea.
It'll happen. I'm just glad I could play a part. And Commander, thanks for making me believe again. If you hadn't, it helps to have reason to live again.
Stay sharp, Cortez.
Yes, ma'am.
Is there someone else I can connect you to?
Kasumi Goto.
Certainly. I'll connect you now.
Hey, Shep. You ready down there?
Depends on whether you've got the Crucible good to go.
Oh, it's ready. No idea what it'll do exactly, but it's gonna be big. Good luck, Shepard. If you live through it, drinks are on me.
Is there someone else I can connect you to?
Samara.
Certainly. I'll connect you now.
I wondered if I'd see you again, Samara.
It's past time I joined your battle. You helped me a great deal in the monastery, Shepard.
Thank you for returning the favor.
Only your actions will be remembered. May you choose them well. Farewell.
Is there someone else I can connect you to?
I'm done.
Yes, ma'am.
Nice to talk to them.
I want you to coordinate with the Alliance. Make sure we iron out these logistical problems.
Yes, sir. The Krogan don't want to share supplies.
That's just Rex playing hard to get. Tell him I've got a crate of Denorian beer I'd be happy to barter with. And that ought to get his attention.
Primarch Victus. I didn't realize you were here.
I wanted to return the favor in person. Though I'm sorry to see your world looks as bad as ours.
Thanks for that.
I'm surprised you're not back on Palaven.
This war will be won or lost today, here, on Earth, not Palaven. Everything comes down to this moment, and history will record that the Turian hierarchy stood among the brave.
How are things back on Palaven?
Urdnot Rex was true to his word. The Krogan put up a magnificent fight. Fearless, to the last soldier. They bought us time to evacuate civilians. Yet even then, the Reapers were still too much. The only hope from my world now is victory here on Earth.
I'm glad we got this chance to speak.
Good luck, Commander. Good luck, Commander.
It's a shame to see another planet get hit like this. It'll be the last one if I have anything to say about it. This nightmare finally ends today.
You really think the Reapers can be defeated?
I know they can. That whole Sovereign business a few years ago, he was the first to die. Now all his friends will too.
Goddamn right, Garrus.
Shepard. So I guess this is...
Just like old times.
Might be the last chance we get to say that.
You think we're gonna lose?
No, I think we're about to kick the Reapers back into whatever black hole they crawled out of. Then we're going to retire somewhere warm and tropical and live off the royalties from the vids. Maybe even find out what a Turian human baby looks like.
I'm game, though I think adoption's a better idea. Biology may not cooperate.
Huh. I suppose there will be a lot of little Krogan around soon.
We just have to beat the Reapers first.
James told me there's an old saying here on Earth. May you be in heaven half an hour before the devil knows you're dead. Not sure if Turian heaven is the same as yours, but if this thing goes sideways and we both end up there, meet me at the bar. I'm buying.
Shepard and Vicarian storming heaven. I guess there are worse ways this could end.
But maybe some other day. And Shepard, forgive the insubordination, but your boyfriend has an order for you. Come back alive. It'd be an awfully empty galaxy without you.
Goodbye, Garrus. And if I'm up there in that bar and you're not, I'll be looking down. You'll never be alone.
Never.
God damn, but Jennifer Hale can fucking voice act.
How are the casualties?
They haven't brought in many more wounded.
That's something. How you holding up, Liara?
This is it, isn't it?
Yeah. This is it.
I don't know what to say. I just know I'll have a clever line 5 minutes from now. I do have one thing for you, Shepard. A gift. It'll only take a moment, if you want it.
Sure. I've got a moment.
Close your eyes. Thank you for everything. Let's do what needs to be done, Shepard.
What's his condition?
Bleeding. There's a lot of blood. His leg was blown off below the knee.
Okay, now try to stay calm.
I'm just a civilian. We're out of Meditail, and your surgeon got killed by a Reaper. I don't know how to do this.
Sammy, where are you? Can't find you. Message me back, please. People go into that place and come out not the same human anymore. Can hear the voices crawling inside the back of my skull whispering they want... Stop! Why won't it stop? until I go where the others went, get turned into one of those things. Oh God, please make it stop, make it stop, make it stop, make it stop. Won't listen to the voices, won't go in there, can't make it stop, know what to do. Indoctrination.
I'll talk you through it. You're his only hope right now. The most important thing is to stop the bleeding. Do you have any towels or bandages?
When the Rachni laid waste to the galaxy 2,000 years ago, when all seemed lost and the end was near, one word delivered the killer blow. One word beat the monsters back to the abyss. And one word brought death to an enemy none dared fight. That word was Krogan! And today, the Krogan rise again. Today, we forge a new path and join the galaxy as allies in victory. Today, we win our future!
Try it again. Hold tight.
Commander,
Was it this bad in your time?
worse. I have been listening to the Krogan speak to his men. In our cycle, the races never came together. There was no rallying cry. I envy you.
Really? There's not much left out there.
The future is still out there. It is something my people could never say. There will be a tomorrow.
Only if we win today.
No one else has ever made it this far.
We haven't won until we've crossed the finish line.
In my cycle, we never even saw the finish line. But yours is out there. The end is in sight. You will become the avatar of this cycle, the exemplar of victory. Not just for humanity, or Turians, or Protheans, but for all life. Every soul that has ever existed is watching this moment.
Well, no pressure when you put it that way.
Do not waver. Victory is never won without difficult choices.
I know. I've had to make a lot of those.
There may be more. But I know you will see this through for all of us, no matter the cost.
If we actually pull this off, what will you do afterwards?
Seeing the past again in the Echo Shard, the faces of my men. I will go to the Cronian Nebula, and I will find their graves. I will put their ghosts to rest. And then I will join them.
You mean...
It is as it should be, Commander. The last Prothean voice has spoken. There is no more left to say. Here. This shard is now yours. Add to it. The progeny of this cycle will study it. They will know this was the day when the Reapers were no more, and that you were their conqueror.
Shepard, you did it. No matter what else happens today, you did what no one else could. You united a galaxy. That's a victory right there. And don't worry, I know why you're going to win. Because you brought the Krogan. Oh, and Bakara sends her regards. She's already pregnant. There are benefits to being a clan leader. But she keeps insisting we name the first one Mordin. Anyway, let's get to it. Meant to tell you, Shepard. Earth reminds me of home. Guess you'll be needing a new planet too. That's okay. Tuchanka's got room to spare. And a guard dog named Kalros. We're ready, Shepard. Say the word.
There's something so reassuring about Rex never changing no matter what.
What about this zone? We could circle around and flood it with reinforcements.
Unlikely. I spent 3 days in that sector, trapped inside Big Ben, sniping anything that moved. It's a bloody death trap.
Name me one place in this city that isn't.
Almost time for the final push. Are you okay?
I thought I'd be asking you that question.
Shepard, I backed you when I was just a kid on her pilgrimage. I backed you when the Normandy was a Cerberus ship. What kind of friend would I be if I didn't back you now? And you haven't answered my question. Are you okay?
You remember how you felt when you landed on Ranark? Now imagine it's not a story passed down by your people. Imagine you were there just a few months ago.
And now you're seeing it like this.
We need to put it right.
We will. Whatever happens, I'm proud to have served with you, Captain.
It's been an honor, Tali'Zorah Vas Normandy.
The Admirals once hung that ship name on me like a badge of shame. And then the Normandy helped us reclaim our homeworld. It's time I returned the favor.
Shepard, I have a question.
Is it a big or small one?
It is important. Its relevance would be diminished at any other time.
Ask away.
In this battle, the Reapers have no reason not to use their full capabilities to destroy us. Their forces are in entrenched positions. They have superior firepower and outnumber our forces. My question is, what makes you think we can reach the conduit at all?
The Reapers have the Citadel. They think they've won, and that's the best time to hit them.
If they have spies or other intelligence, we could lose the element of surprise. In such a case, we will likely lose.
Are you afraid?
Our probability for success is greater than any other plan presented to date.
That's not what I asked. Are you afraid?
I do not understand the purpose of the question.
There's no room for doubt anymore, EDI. You understand what we have to do, or you don't.
I am clear on what we must accomplish, Shepard. The Reapers have destroyed thousands of civilizations. But they have never destroyed ours. Nor will they.
Couldn't put it better myself. Time to move out.
Shepard, there is something I want you to know. The Illusive Man ordered my creation years ago. Jeff was the one who allowed me to think for myself. But only now do I feel alive. That is your influence.
Thanks, EDI.
Commander?
Admiral?
Just going over the sitrep.
How's it look?
Barely 50% of Hammer has reported in.
Can we count on more making it?
There's some stragglers still en route. But the bulk of Hammer that's still intact has arrived. We're as ready as we're likely to get.
I'll check on my team. We'll get going soon.
I'll give the battalion leaders the heads up. We'll be ready as soon as you are.
Right, I think I'm reasonably sure I've talked to everyone and heard every conversation. Just gonna circle back around to Rex and Javik to make sure. Yes, good, good. Then we are indeed ready to make the final push.
Whenever you're ready.
Let's move before the Reapers realize what we're up to.
Exactly my thoughts. Battalion leaders, report to HQ. We fought hard to get here. But now the toughest part of our mission begins. We've got to drive right through the heart of Reaper-controlled territory, break past their defenses, and get to that beam.
What kind of defenses?
The entire area is crawling with Reaper forces. But our biggest concern is the destroyer, protecting the beam itself.
Can we bring in air support to deal with it?
Negative. Some kind of interference. We'll have to take it out from the ground. Now they've cut a swath of no man's land through the city. We'll have to cross that first. There'll be some limited shelter on the other side, but expect heavy ground resistance. We need to get our tanks to here, if we get close enough. We've got a shot at taking that thing out.
How much of a shot?
They know we're coming. This will be a one-way trip for many of us, but there can be no retreat, no stepping back. We move forward at all costs, understood?
Hoo-yah! Yes, sir!
Johnson, Coates, you two will coordinate the artillery units. Shepard, I'm sending you right up the gut where the resistance is heaviest. Support the tanks the best you can, but stay alive. I need you for the final push to the beam. I'll give you a minute with your squad. Pick your team well.
This war has brought us pain and suffering and loss. But it's also brought us together as soldiers, allies, friends. This bond that ties us together is something the Reapers will never understand. It's more powerful than any weapon, stronger than any ship. It can't be taken or destroyed. The next few hours will decide the fate of everyone in the galaxy. Every mother, every son, every unborn child. They're trusting you, depending on you to win them their future. A future free from the threat of the Reapers. But take heart. Look around you. You're not in this fight alone. We face our enemy together, and together, we will defeat them.
Okay. Let's see, for the final push. This is a character design thing, obviously. Characters that matter don't have helmets on because you want to see their faces. But whereas expendable characters tend to have helmets on so that when they all die horribly, you don't feel too bad about it. I'm also gonna do a thing. I feel like I have beaten the game at this point. So I'm gonna go a little easy on myself. So I don't have to replay any of these charges like 8 times. There they go. Oh, hey, someone's laptop survived. Mom, Dad, I can't reach you guys. I tried the office and your personal comms. No one's answering. And the news was saying that the bombings are getting worse and then the power went off. Look, I know I'm supposed to stay put, but I can't reach anyone. I'm getting really worried about the twins. I'm going to head off to the school to pick them up, okay? I'll bring any other of the kids I find, too. You can yell at me when we meet up at the emergency shelters. Love, Kay. Reminder that this was someone's home, I guess.
Coming from everywhere! Going for the tanks! Protect the tanks at all costs! Without those missiles, we've got no chance!
Security memo. They're targeting shelters, evacuation shuttles, emergency services, power centers, people. It's not about destroying property as much as it's about destroying the population. We've got to modify standard evac plans. We can't rely on conventional procedures. We'll just get more people killed. Stay in small groups, get survivors out of the city, spread people out as much as possible. Pass the word, people. Yeah, big emergency shelter to the Reapers is just a target. Well, that seems bad.
That's it. I'll let you know when I've adapted the targeting systems.
Sounds like good news, Commander.
We'll see.
Hammer, this is Admiral Anderson. The Reaper ground forces are making a push. Hold to ground. Protect those tanks until we can get a shot.
You heard him, people. Get ready.
There they are.
Well, there they were. See, this is kind of the fight. That's why I decided to just, like, change the difficulty. Because this one, where you're getting attacked from 3 sides, and some of them are suicide walkers. These husks here. It's just not... It's a brutal fight. It's kind of fun in its way, but only if you're in the mood for it, and I kind of am not right now. Even on normal difficulty, this fight can be a little bit a lot.
Commander, I have reprogrammed targeting. Missiles are ready for launch.
Got it. You heard her. Back to the truck, people.
Thankfully, they stopped attacking right at the moment when the missiles were ready.
Missile guidance enhanced.
Firing!
Countering interference.
Did it hit? What happened?
The Reaper is still too close to the beam.
We're down to 2 missiles.
And the Reaper is still standing.
You will need to allow the Reaper to move out of the beam's influence.
And closer to us.
Commander, Hammer's being overrun at every turn. Reaper ground forces are converging on your location. We're fighting our way to you. Hold on, Commander. Hold on.
We cannot hold much longer.
Hold on, everyone. We can do this.
Here they come.
La da 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 da. There you are. Hello.
Commander, the destroyer is in range. Missiles are ready for launch.
Roger that, Edie.
Targeting is online. Reaper is within range.
Firing!
Going down!
Hit him with everything you got!
Okay.
Destroyer terminated.
Nice work, Edie.
Shepard, we're on our way to your location.
Roger that.
Shepard! Over here! Thank God you made it.
It didn't look good.
It gets worse.
Of course it does.
Hackett just reported in. Several Sovereign-class Reapers, including Harbinger, have broken off from the battle with Sword. They're headed here.
Harbinger?
It's an opportunity for Hackett to get the Crucible in place. But we have to get a team on board the Citadel to open those arms now.
We still don't even know what we'll find when we get to the Citadel.
And that's our job. Find out what we're up against.
All right. Saddle up, everybody. Get me Admiral Hackett.
is it. Any available squadrons, delay those Reapers leaving the battle. We've got to give Hammer more time.
From here on in, it's a straight shot to the beam.
A straight shot with Reapers trying to crush us along the way.
Thank you for the input, Captain Random.
Get a handful of troops through.
Only a handful, huh?
We knew this was going to be a gamble at best.
Can't think of anyone else I'd rather do this with.
I can, but we chose them
Nobody
because
does
they're
it alone.
expendable.
We're in sight of the target.
All right, everyone. This is it.
We gotta move! Hammer squads, go, go, go!
Normandy, do you copy? I need an evac right now!
Come on! Here.
Commander,
You gotta get out of here.
this is where I belong.
Don't argue with me.
But I can still fight.
I need to know somebody's getting out of this alive.
Commander,
Good luck.
entire force was decimated. It's too much. We need to regroup. Fall back to the buildings.
Power is wiped out. All forces, retreat.
Anderson, you up here too?
Followed you up, but we didn't come out in the same place. Oh, at least I don't think we did. What's your surroundings look like?
Hell.
You okay?
I feel like death, but I'm moving. It's dark. There's human remains scattered.
Sounds familiar. I'm in a dark hallway. Reminds me of your description of the collector base.
Makes sense.
You think they're making a Reaper in here?
Sure. They round them up on Earth and send the people up here to be processed.
Goddamn abomination. I'm gonna keep moving. The sooner we blow these bastards back to hell, the better. The tubes don't go on forever. But where the hell are we?
Yeah. Doesn't look like any part of the Citadel I've been to.
Whoa.
Anderson?
One of the walls here just realigned itself. The place is shifting, changing. There's a chasm here, and more hallways like the one I was in.
I think I'm near an exit.
Remember how throughout the entire game, Shepard has just been taking punishment, like just falling down, getting hurt, getting smacked around, getting smashed.
I see something up ahead. Might be a way to cross over.
Don't get too far ahead of me.
This is kind of the culmination of that. This is that all coming to a head.
Where do you think you're at?
Just found that chasm you were talking about.
Hold on. I see something. A control panel, maybe. I'm just gonna go on it.
Anderson? Damn it. Anderson!
Shepard! I can't!
I underestimated you, Shepard.
What have...
I warned you. Control is the means to survival. Control of the Reapers, and of you, if necessary.
They're controlling you.
I don't think so, Admiral.
Controlling me is a lot different than controlling a Reaper.
Have a little faith. When humanity discovered the mass relays, when we learned there was more to the galaxy than we imagined, there were some who thought the relays should be destroyed. They were scared of what we'd find, terrified of what we might let in.
Yeah, and they turned out to be so wrong.
But look at what humanity has achieved. Since that discovery, we've advanced more than the past 10,000 years combined. And the Reapers will do the same for us again, 1,000-fold. But only if we can harness their ability to control.
Bullshit. We destroy them, or they destroy us.
And waste this opportunity? Never.
You're playing with things you don't understand. With power you shouldn't be able to use.
I don't believe that. If we can control it, why shouldn't it be ours?
Because we're not ready.
No. This is the way humanity must evolve.
There's always another way.
I've dedicated my life to understanding the Reapers, and I know with certainty the Crucible will allow me to control them.
And then what?
Look at the power they wield. Look at what they can do.
I see what they did to you.
I took what I wanted from them, made it my own. This isn't about me or you. It's about things so much bigger than all of us.
He's wrong. Don't listen to him.
And who will you listen to, Shepard? An old soldier stuck in his ways, only able to see the world down the barrel of a gun? And what if he's wrong? What if controlling the Reapers is the answer?
If we destroy the Reapers, this ends today. But if you can't control them...
But I can!
Are you willing to bet humanity's existence on it?
I know it will work.
You can't, can you? They won't let you do it.
No! I'm in control! No one is telling me what to do!
Listen to yourself. You're indoctrinated.
No! No! The two of you so self-righteous. Do you think power like this comes easy? There are sacrifices.
You sacrifice too much.
Shepard, I only wanted to protect humanity. The Crucibles can control them. I know it can. I just...
It's not too late. Let us go. We'll do the rest.
I can't do that, Commander.
Of course you can't. They own you now.
You'd undo everything I've accomplished. I won't let that happen.
Ah, son of a bitch. Son of a bitch. So, it is possible to talk the Illusive Man down. It is possible. But I forgot about the conditions for making it possible. You have to consistently choose only either the blue or the red options, like either Intimidate or Charm. At 3 key points in the game, you have to choose those conversations with those options. And I think I used Intimidate a couple of times because I forgot about it. Son of a bitch. Oh well.
You're not yourself anymore. They've taken you.
No! You're the one who failed. There. Earth. I wish you could see it like I do, Shepard. It's so perfect.
This is it, everyone. The arms are opening.
Commander?
We did it.
Yes, we did. It's quite a view.
Best seats in the house.
God. Feels like years since I just sat down.
Think you earned a rest. Stay with me. We're almost through this.
You did good, child. You did good. I'm proud of you.
Thank you, sir. Anderson?
Shepard? Commander?
What do you need me to do?
Nothing's happening. The Crucible's not firing. It's gotta be something on your end. Commander Shepard!
I don't see. I'm not sure how to...
Commander!
By the way, the Citadel, it opens into a star. I always quite like that. Here comes the the part that pissed off a lot of people.
Wake up.
What? Where am I?
The Citadel. It's my home.
Who are you?
I am the Catalyst.
I thought the Citadel was the catalyst.
No, the Citadel is part of me.
I need to stop the Reapers. Do you know how I can do that?
Perhaps. I control the Reapers. They are my solution.
The solution to what?
Chaos. The created will always rebel against their creators.
Bullshit.
But we found a way to stop that from happening. A way to restore order.
By wiping out organic life?
No, we harvest advanced civilizations, leaving the younger ones alone. Just as we left your people alive the last time we were here.
How generous of you.
Killed the rest.
We helped them ascend, so they could make way for new life, storing the old life in Reaper form.
I think we'd rather keep our own form.
No, you can't. Without us to stop it, synthetics would destroy all organics.
Bullshit.
We created the cycle so that never happens. That's the solution.
So we know that this is bullshit. Right, like we know that. We've already seen it. The game has demonstrated it to us multiple times that this is bullshit.
You said you're the catalyst, but What are you?
A construct. An intelligence designed eons ago to solve a problem. I was created to bring balance, to be the catalyst for peace between organics and synthetics.
So you're just an AI?
In as much as you are just an animal, I embody the collective intelligence of all Reapers.
But you were created.
Correct.
By who?
By ones who recognized that conflict would always arise between synthetics and organics. I was first created to oversee the relations between synthetic and organic life, to establish a connection. But our efforts always ended in conflict, so a new solution was required.
The Reapers.
Precisely.
I met your creators. They told me what you did to them.
We did as we were expected.
They said you betrayed them, that you turned them into Harbinger.
When they asked that I solve the problem of conflict, they failed to understand they were part of the problem themselves. The flaws of their organic reasoning could not perceive this. They lacked the foresight to understand their destruction was part of the very solution they required.
Bullshit.
Well, they've joined this war now.
And I welcome their involvement. I am only facilitating their request.
Where did the Reapers come from? Did you create them?
My creators gave them form. I gave them function. They, in turn, give me purpose. The Reapers are a synthetic representation of my creators.
Leviathan.
Yes. They created me to oversee the relations between synthetic and organic life, to establish a connection. They became the first true Reaper. They did not approve, but it was the only solution.
You said that before. But how do the Reapers solve anything?
Organics create synthetics to improve their own existence, but those improvements have limits. To exceed those limits, synthetics must be allowed to evolve. They must, by definition, surpass their creators.
Bullshit.
The result is conflict, destruction, chaos. It is inevitable.
Bullshit.
Reapers harvest all life, organic and synthetic, preserving them before they are forever lost to this conflict.
We're at war with the Reapers right now.
You may be in conflict with the Reapers, but they are not interested in war.
I find that hard to believe.
When fire burns, is it at war? Is it in conflict? Or is it simply doing what it was created to do?
It's not fire.
We are no different. We harvest your bodies, your knowledge, your creations. We preserve it, to be reborn in the form of a new Reaper. Like a cleansing fire, we restore balance. New life, both organic and synthetic, can once again flourish.
You know, like, so remember a couple of things from the games. Mordin, in the previous game, told us something. That the collectors, the Protheans who were harvested by the Reapers turned into servants, are culturally dead, right? Like, they have no culture, they create nothing, they embody nothing, they think nothing, they feel nothing. They are a dead species. They can't create any of the things that makes it meaningful to have or be a culture. The Reapers are the same way, as the intelligence here says. All they do, like, at best, their best case scenario, like, their best argument for the existence of the Reapers is that they preserve prior organic life in the form of the synthetic Reapers, right? Like, that's it. Just like we lock it in amber and then it just stays there forever. Which might as well, like, which is not preservation, right? Like, the meaning of preservation, the meaning of preserving the past is to make it available to the present, to learn from, to flourish from, to be inspired by. Like, to have the past have some kind of meaning or influence on the world. And what this intelligence has done instead is, when presented with a problem that it considers unsolvable, has simply said, okay, well, let's just freeze the whole thing. Let's just make the problem not exist. Instead of solving it, it has just created a situation where the problem can never arise, and therefore it considers that a solution. But it isn't a solution. It hasn't found a resolution to conflict. It has just found a way to forestall the conflict from happening over and over and over and over and over again. And that's even just assuming that any of its bullshit about, oh, synthetics and organics always in conflict forever, it's just inevitable, that any of that is even right. Because it isn't. Like, the Geth turned on the Quarians, and we fucking solved that. Like, there are ways to do it. There are ways to solve these things. There are ways for synthetic and organic life to live together in harmony. So, its logic is probably internally consistent to it, but it's completely inconsistent with the world that we have seen in Mass Effect. And it's completely inconsistent with, just a baseline understanding of the concept of ethics, which is that you can't play God. You can't be God.
What do you know about the Crucible?
The device you refer to as the Crucible is little more than a power source. However, in combination with the Citadel and the relays, it is capable of releasing tremendous amounts of energy throughout the galaxy. It is crude, but effective and adaptive in its design.
Who designed it?
You would not know them, and there is not enough time to explain. We first noted the concept for this device several cycles ago. With each passing cycle, the design has no doubt evolved.
Why didn't you stop it?
We believe the concept had been eradicated. Clearly, organics are more resourceful than we realized.
Yeah, because you're dumb. You're stupid. Because it is not a godlike intelligence, however much it tries to present itself as such. Clearly, organics are more resourceful than we realized. Yeah, you don't fully understand their nature, do you? So then how can you sit in judgment of, their inevitable outcome when it's clear that you don't really comprehend them, that you don't really have the means to control them? So, okay, let's progress to the next stage of the conversation.
But you're taking away our future. Without future, we have no hope. Without hope, we might as well be machines, programmed to do what we're told.
You have hope, more than you think. The fact that you are standing here, the first organic ever, proves it. But it also proves my solution won't work anymore.
So now what?
We find a new solution.
Why are you telling me this? Why help me?
You have altered the variables.
What do you mean?
The Crucible changed me, created new possibilities, but I can't make them happen. If there is to be a new solution, you must act. It is now in your power to destroy us.
Red. Renegade.
But be warned, others will be destroyed as well. The Crucible will not discriminate. All synthetics will be targeted. Even you are partly synthetic.
What exactly will happen?
Your Crucible device appears to be largely intact. However, the effects of the blast will not be constrained to the Reapers. Technology you rely on will be affected, but those who survive should have little difficulty repairing the damage. There will still be losses, but no more than what has already been lost.
But the Reapers will be destroyed?
Yes, but the peace won't last.
Yes, it will.
Soon, your children will create synthetics, and then the chaos will come back.
There has to be another way.
There is. You could instead use the energy of the Crucible to seize control of the Reapers.
So the elusive man was right after all.
Yes, but he could never have taken control, because we already controlled him.
But I can?
You will die. You will control us, but you will lose everything you have.
Notice the rhetoric there? It's like, oh, no, yeah, he was definitely indoctrinated. He definitely couldn't. We controlled him, definitely. But you, hey, yeah, you're special. You're different. We don't control you. You can do whatever you want.
How can I control the Reapers if I'm dead?
Your corporeal form will be dissolved, but your thoughts and even your memories will continue. Your connection to your kind will be lost, though you will remain aware of their existence.
But the Reapers will obey me?
Yes. We will be yours to control and direct as you see fit. There is another solution. Synthesis.
Hmm.
And that is?
Add your energy to the crucibles. The chain reaction will combine all synthetic and organic life into a new framework, a new DNA.
Explain how my energy can be added to the crucible.
Your organic energy, the essence of who and what you are, will be broken down and then dispersed.
To do what, exactly?
The energy of the crucible, released in this way, will alter the matrix of all organic life in the galaxy. Organics seek perfection through technology. Synthetics seek perfection through understanding.
Bullshit.
Organics will be perfected by integrating fully with synthetic technology. Synthetics, in turn, will finally have full understanding of organics.
Bullshit.
It is the ideal solution. Now that we know it is possible, it is inevitable we will reach synthesis.
Why couldn't you do it sooner?
We have tried a similar solution in the past, but it has always failed.
Why?
Because the organics were not ready. It is not something that can be forced. You are ready, and you may choose it.
You're asking me to change everything. Everyone. I can't make that decision. I won't.
Why not? Synthetics are already part of you. Can you imagine your life without them?
That's beside the point.
Your time is at an end. You must decide.
Let's get this over with.
Do what you must.
So I can't save right now, which annoys me, because there is an option that's available to you now, which is to just take your gun and shoot the kid. Because you're just like, no, fuck you, I reject all of these options, go to hell. That loses you the game. That's, you know, very much not the right answer in this situation as far as the game is concerned, but it is an option. And it's an option that was added after the initial release of the game, when people were less than happy with the way that the endings played out. And a lot of people getting to this point in the game were quite dissatisfied with this whole philosophic conversation with a child in the middle of, like, a space battle, standing, like, with three sort of very, not binary, but in this case, trinary choices. It was like, oh, the one, the other, or the third one, and those are the, like, press the button for the ending that you want, is essentially what you get here. Now, the thing that unlocks the different endings is the amount of effective military strength you have as you go into the game. If you have the full military strength, all options will be available. If you don't have enough, you can only choose the destroy ending, right? And so what the game seems to be pushing you towards, certainly what the child is telling you, is that synthesis, hey, a third option instead of control and stuff of this nasty binary stuff. Third option, synthesis, we'll just all be together and everything. Like, it's offering you essentially what sounds like a paradise. And this is where we finally have to talk about the indoctrination theory. So, throughout the game, Shepard has been having these nightmares, right? These nightmares of a child. This child, specifically, the intelligence has taken the form of that child. Running through this dark forest, seeing this child run before her that she saw die back on Earth, maybe, sort of as a haunting. And during those cutscenes, we've had these horrible scenes of the child being burned to death, dying over and over and over again. So, and there are a couple of ways to read those dreams. Either they're a reflection of Shepard's trauma, like the child is a representation of the Earth, which is as a sort of innocence, like it is the child represents all the innocence of the Earth, and Shepard is haunted by the horror that is happening to them right now. Which, you know, yeah, that's a pretty reasonable interpretation. the other interpretation is that Shepard, having been in contact with a lot of Reaper technology for quite a long time now, has finally started to be affected, as pretty much everyone is eventually when they come in contact with Reaper technology for too long. That it is finally a process of indoctrination that is very slowly beginning to take over Shepard's mind and beginning to alter how she sees the world and the choices that she believes are possible, right? And the indoctrination theory can be supported with a bunch of incidental evidence. It's worth saying that writers at BioWare have sort of said, like, yeah, that's a cool theory, but that's not, we didn't intend that. That doesn't mean it's not a valid reading, but it's something that I find hard not to bring in, because this is the Reapers. This right here, that is the Reapers. We're talking to they motherfuckers out there. We're talking to them, their collective intelligence right now, right? And it clearly has an agenda. It clearly has a viewpoint. It clearly has something that it wants to push us towards. And what it wants to push us towards is both of the options that will kill us. Taking control, heading on over here, and trying to control the Reapers will kill us. And we will be absorbed and become part of them, being preserved forever in Reaper form, which is exactly what this goddamn thing has been engineered to do. Synthesis will also destroy us, but it will also, crucially, allow the Reapers to live on. It will recombine them with organic life and preserve them in the galaxy forever. Assuming, and that's all assuming that the kid is telling the truth at all, which, you know, no guarantees there. The kid might just be fucking lying to us because it is the Reapers. It wants ultimately to survive, right? It wants to live. It doesn't want to be destroyed. It doesn't want to be ended. So, of course, it's pushing us away from this and towards the other two options. And so is the game. The game itself also implies that, oh, well, if this is the third ending here is the special secret ending that you unlock, if you gather enough effective military strength, if you really grind shit out and you get like that bar up all the way to full, you get this special secret ending, and that's probably the best ending, right? That's the best ending, except if we believe in the indoctrination theory, if we take that as not necessarily for granted, but certainly as an option, then from the very beginning of the game, Shepard has already had their thinking and their strategizing altered by the child, by the Reapers. From the very beginning of the game, we've already been conditioned to pick one of these two endings, because the control ending also needs more points to unlock. That one is more difficult to get, and as gamers, we are naturally conditioned to go for, like, to think that whichever ending is more difficult to achieve must be the more valuable one, the better one, the good one, right? And that pushes us away from the obvious answer, the thing that we have known that we have to do since the very beginning of since not the beginning, but since Mass Effect 1, destroy the Reapers, because they are monsters. The child here is like arguing for, like, yeah, I mean, yeah, sure, maybe we spent the past like 400 million years or whatever harvesting all life over and over again and committing absolutely unspeakable atrocities continuously in a cycle forever, which we believe is completely justified, and we have the right to do it because that's just what we were built to do. But on the other hand, you know, it's like, so you can't judge us. That's not fair. It's not fair to judge us just because we did horrible things all the time forever to everything that lives. This is a terrible, unfair thing to be mad at us for that. Why don't you go choose one of the nice endings where we get to live? Whereas the right answer might be, and might always have been, that the Reapers need to be destroyed. Which leads us to the conflict there. It says that all synthetic life will end. Well, that kind of... Ooh, that seems like that would include the Geth and EDI, wouldn't it? Again, assuming that it is telling the truth. And why would we ever assume that? This thing is disinterested, that this thing is neutral, that this thing has anyone's best interests at heart except itself, that this thing cares for anything except perpetual, eternal self-preservation, which is what it has been doing the whole time. That's what the Reapers are, eternal, unchanging self-preservation, the locking of the entire galaxy into a static, controlled, unchanging state. An endlessly repeating cycle from which there can be no break and no escape. And the irony is that it speaks of an inevitable cycle of conflict, right? Like, the synthetics and organics will inevitably come into conflict. They will inevitably attack each other. There will inevitably be chaos. Like, that's inevitable. And that is, too, is a cycle, right? Like, that it says that there is this cycle of organics rising, creating synthetics, then synthetics destroy organics. And that just goes around and around and around. Well, you haven't fucking solved that, then. Because I can't help but notice that you are a bunch of synthetics that keep returning to destroy all organics over and over and over again. It seems to me that if this cycle is so goddamn sure to continue, you have a rather large part, my friend, in ensuring that it keeps continuing. It's like, kind of seems like maybe you're part of the problem. Actually, we're with your little, like, with your little synthetic death murder machines that come to do death and murder every fucking millennium. Meanwhile, me hanging out in this, like, in this universe, like, I don't know how old Shepard is, like 40 years, something like that, managed to solve a conflict between an organic and a synthetic population. Turns out that's actually possible, even though it seemed so completely intractable, so completely impossible to even imagine that such a conflict could be solved. Turns out I managed it. And then there's you, little godchild with your super brain, Captain Universal Intelligence asshole over here. You couldn't figure it out, huh? You couldn't figure out how to do that? Yeah, turns out that might be an indication that your logic, your thinking, and who and what you are as an entire concept is flawed. Maybe, little child, maybe you inherited some of the flaws of your creators who were, you know, violently repressive, controlling eugenicist imperialists. Maybe you inherited something from them when they created you. Maybe you are their child after all. And they are ticks, parasites on the universe, like bleeding it dry and eating what's inside it solely to preserve themselves, making everything else in the universe merely a part of their own life cycle. So yeah, like, in case you can't tell, my opinion here is, fuck you. Fuck you and the horse you rode in on. Fuck you forever. Fuck everything you say. I'm gonna choose the destroy ending, and fuck you, please. So that's where we're going. But then, let's return to some of the themes of the game that we've been talking, the series, rather, that we've been talking about. Mass Effect is a post-9/11 series. I've harped on about this endlessly throughout this entire playthrough of the series. It's a post-9/11 game series. It's a game that exists in large part in reaction to the events of 9/11, to the events of the War on Terror, and to the way that Western culture, especially, and the way that, like, the post-Cold War world was changed by the beginning of the forever wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, and the cultural conflict that was fomented between, like, Christian and Muslim nations on a global scale, by a cabal of like, far-right Christian fundamentalists who cast themselves as the new Crusaders, bringing the light of Christ to Jerusalem and the Middle East, right? Mass Effect exists very much in reaction to that, because the central problem that it explores, like the central conceit of its premise is, what if there was something out there that is evil, that hates us, that cannot be negotiated with, that cannot be reconciled with, that cannot be talked to, that cannot be coexisted with, and it's coming to kill us? What do we do? What do we do when there is an overwhelming, unstoppable, intractable outside threat? What do we do? Like, how does that change the world? And one of the arguments that Mass Effect comes up with is, well, then you give soldiers the power to do anything they want. Just all of anything they want, anytime. Just Spectres. That is cool. Make Spectres. That's awesome. Shepard, soldier, cool. Every civilian authority, every civilian kind of politician, if they obey the soldiers, then they're cool. If they don't, well, then they're traitorous wretches who are, like, delivering the world into the hands of evil. Like Udina, for example, is sort of the key example of that. But also the Council itself, which is so concerned with, like, its own internal politics and can't see the greater threat against which we all should unite. In the context of Mass Effect being released when it did and under the circumstances that it does, and the way that this game just reveres the shit out of the military, how much it loves cops and soldiers. Just cannot get enough of jerking them off. If we follow that metaphor under those conditions to its conclusion, then the Reapers, in that particular metaphor, are Islam. Like, the Reapers are Islamic cultures, or even, like, not even just necessarily Islam, but they are any culture that is different from Western liberal democracy. Right, like, or the imagination of Western liberal democracy. An imaginary version of democracy that has never actually really existed. Cough, cough, highest prison population in the world, United States of America. An imaginary, like, version of it. And so, if we're here and I'm choosing the destroy ending, like, one way to read it is that I am giving into the idea that there can be no peaceful coexistence of any kind with the thing which the Reapers are a metaphor for, which is a culture that is different from yours, right? Like a culture that seems fundamentally at odds with yours. And that the right thing to do when presented with a cultural conflict is to simply wipe the opposing culture out, because we presume that there can be no coexistence, right? And that's sort of... that is an aspect that I think is worth keeping in mind. I don't really see the Reapers that way at this point in the series. I think the Reapers very much started as that and eventually became, as Mass Effect went on, more of a metaphor for not necessarily climate change as such, but that kind of catastrophe. Like some kind of, like, intractable, horrifying natural disaster sort of situation, rather than necessarily a cultural enemy. I think that's part of what the point was of Mordin sort of going out of his way to establish that, no, the Reapers aren't a culture. Like, they aren't a culture. They don't have art. They don't have mathematics or science or poetry. They don't have anything. Like, they're just empty, static husks of dead civilizations that don't exist anymore. And from that perspective, the thing you could see the Reapers as on a thematic level also is the haunting of the old world, right? You could see them as, like, they are these ancient cultures preserved in amber whose grievances, like, whose cycles of violence, whose conflict, the conflict between organic and synthetic life, in this case being a metaphor, whose ancient conflict that they could not resolve keeps haunting the world forever, right? And so that they are representations of a kind of extreme reactionary conservatism that believes that the world is fundamentally based around hierarchical, calcified destruction. Like, that believes that the world is based around an inevitable hierarchy on top of which they must sit because the alternative is apocalypse, which is what a lot of modern conservatives believe. Like, that's the foundational belief of, for example, white supremacy, but also the foundational belief of, like, apocalyptic religious cults. ISIS would espouse a similar, like, rhetoric, if they had any rhetoric that was a lot deeper than, you know... it is the kind of rhetoric that comes from, like, if we do not destroy our enemies, then the world will go to ruin. Like then the world will careen towards off against an apocalypse. You can see the Reapers as a metaphor for that as well. And it's worth noting that especially in Mass Effect 3, not so much in Mass Effect 1, which is very, very human-centric, in Mass Effect 3, there is a greater focus on, you know, no, actually, it's not just that one group of enlightened super people should be responsible for saving the world all alone. It's a game that focuses in its storytelling a lot on diplomacy, a lot on bringing people together, bringing disparate, diverse, different cultures together to solve a common problem, which is where I think that the Reapers sort of swap into more of a metaphor for climate change over time. They start in this really, I would say, rather ugly sort of security politics, xenophobic place where they're exploring the question of, like, what is justified against the backdrop of total destruction. Like when, if like that question of, like, what if there was a bomb that was going to kill every human being on Earth? Would you shoot a baby? If the only way to stop the bomb was to shoot a baby, would you shoot a baby? That kind of question. Like, what can you justify against the backdrop of, like total devastation? The question of security politics. How much freedom is, are we willing to surrender in the name of security? being one of the questions there, where the answer in Mass Effect 1 is all of it. Just surrender all of the freedom. Just give all of the power to one individual or some soldiers and cops, and then surrender all of the freedom, because then we'll be safe from the threat. And Mass Effect 3 takes a slightly more nuanced look at it and says, you know what, no, probably we need consensus politics. Like, probably we need to bring together disparate cultures. Probably we need to bring together people who are different, who have different perspectives, who like, come from different backgrounds, and they all need to have a say in what happens here. They all need to be a part of it, because if they're not, everyone isn't a part of it, then the solution doesn't work. Which is where Mass Effect 3 transitions the Reapers more into a representation of, like, climate change. Like, being the most pressing disaster that the world is facing right now. Or ecological collapse, or, you know, world war. The inevitability of a world war. All of which is to say that Mass Effect has multiple interpretations. If you followed me for a while, you'll not be surprised to hear me say that. There are many ways to see Mass Effect's story. There are many ways to read it. Like, the things that I would say are the main... Like, the criticism I'll always have of it is that it loves cops and soldiers so much. That Mass Effect ultimately cannot imagine a solution to its primary conflicts that are not mediated through military violence, right? Like, that's literally, yeah, that's it. Like, there has to be some soldiers shooting guns, and that's the only way to solve the problem. And that's something that partly comes from the fact that Mass Effect is a shooter. Like, it as a game, it doesn't really have many other layers of interaction that empower the player, that allow the player to be an active part of what happens, except to put a gun in your hand and point you at something. But like, that is one of my primary criticisms of the game. But what Mass Effect 3 eventually does land on is a very interesting exploration of the idea that humanity is ultimately in conflict with its own advancement and its own technology. Remember, in sci-fi like Mass Effect, everything, nothing is a metaphor for actual space or actual science. Everything is a metaphor for the current condition of the human species. And so Mass Effect here is like, the argument that's being made by the Catalyst here is that humanity, which is all of the aliens in Mass Effect, are inevitably destined to come into conflict with their own technology. Which, again, climate change is kind of that. We are in conflict with the consequences of our own technology. We made machines, we automated the world, and now it's slowly choking us to death. And how the fuck do we cope with that? Like, how do we deal with that? And when you see it through that particular lens, then what we have on the right over here is, okay, let's fucking decarbonize the world. Like let's shut down all of this industrial production. Let's stop using oil. Let's stop, like, to fucking get rid of all these fossil fuels that are choking us. Let's stop the pollution. Like, very sort of, like, those sorts of drastic solutions to climate change. Where the Control ending is more like, well, let's control it. Like, let's just like, okay, well, climate change is happening. We'll just figure out a way to deal with it, control it. In fact, maybe we can benefit from it. Which is a rhetoric that you'll sometimes hear from people, is like, well, yeah, it's going to change the climate a lot, but, you know, maybe there's some benefits to that changing climate. Maybe we can find some economic ways to get away with it. Maybe, and I would say also that these are the people who sort of believe, yeah, carbon capture, though. Like, we'll invent a new technology that will control the problem, and we don't have to decarbonize the economy. We can just invent some more technology, and then we can just take the carbon out of the atmosphere. Again, we'll control the problem. But then what does that leave us with for synthesis? Like, in that metaphor, what would synthesis represent? And I confess I'm not 100% sure, except that it might represent a sort of idealistic liberal fantasy of, like, yes, we'll decarbonize some of the economy, like we'll stop using oil maybe, and we'll invent a bunch of electric things, and then also maybe, like, as a decarbonization, like maybe like a sort of centrist position where maybe the right thing to do is, like, maybe we both decarbonize stuff a little bit, and then we also invent some really nice green technologies that'll something. At least in that reading, like, I think that's probably where the synthesis ending goes. And this is why I love Mass Effect. Like, despite, like, I have been ragging on it, I've been making fun of it, I've been complaining about it, I've been taking the piss out of it continuously throughout this entire playthrough. But what I love about Mass Effect is that as a series, it is open to those questions. It confronts those questions. It doesn't always do it well, I don't think. It doesn't always manage it with grace. But it does go there. Like, it tries. It reaches for these big issues with its metaphors. It reaches for these big ideas. and it takes a swing at them. Like, by God, it tries. It has a position that it tries to take and defend. And I do love that, and I do admire that. Because that's difficult to do in art, is to go out there and fucking try and say something. Especially when it comes to a game like Mass Effect, which EA, after the success of the first Mass Effect, EA sort of, and especially the second, EA went all in on making Mass Effect a big AAA franchise. Like, it went all in on trying to convert Mass Effect into its next big cash cow, like something that maybe could compete with Call of Duty, like something that could be like a really big AAA event franchise that everyone gets their hopes up for, and everyone, like, you know, and you can see that influence on Mass Effect 3, like with, for example, the multiplayer mode, which was, I believe, a mandate from EA that we have to have multiplayer, because it's a big AAA game, we have to have multiplayer to be like, because multiplayer, that's where it's at. There was literally a mood at one point in the game industry that single player was dead and multiplayer is where everything was going to go, because of course multiplayer modes could be targeted with recurrent monetization. Multiplayer modes could entice people to buy skins and buy subscriptions and all that shit, what eventually resulted in the rise of games like Fortnite. So there was a huge push for that, and you can see that influence in EA all over the game. Like there was definitely a demand from EA that it had to be bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, more epic, more scale, more scope, like more shit, just pump it all in there. And BioWare, of course, being BioWare, being a company that was fairly mismanaged internally, that ran its development process on BioWare magic, which burned through the life force, literally, of quite a lot of its employees in order to try and make its deadlines, in order to try and pump this game up to the maximum that it could be. You can see the rough edges of that all over the game as well. It was even worse, I will tell you, when it launched. Like, when Mass Effect 3 launched, it was... it had some problems beyond what you've seen in this playthrough. This is Mass Effect after several years of patches and a bunch of DLC and a bunch of fixes and changes, including a whole new rework to the ending in response to a lot of the backlash that people had with this fucking space philosophy conversation with the kid, like where the game has been promising you the entire time that you're gonna have a grand final confrontation with the Reapers, and then you come here and it's not a boss fight, it's not anything, really. It's that there's a little hologram of a child who starts dumping exposition at you. And it does this in a way that, like, Mass Effect is a game that doesn't often encourage you to believe that the people you're talking to are lying, right? Like, it's a game that doesn't really condition you to think that the people who are dumping exposition at you are lying. It conditions you to think, okay, they're telling me the truth, and I, as a player, am in an empowered position to make a decision with perfect information, essentially. That's what Mass Effect does most of the time, is that it gives the player all of the information they need to make an informed choice about what they want to do, and then it gives them the blue option or the red option, and you can be a Paragon or a Renegade, right? That's how the game is structured a lot, and that's how a lot of RPGs are structured, is that they always give the player the information that they need in order to make a completely informed choice at every opportunity. And so they come here, and the natural assumption from the player is that the child is telling the truth, that Destroy probably bad, Control is like probably better than that, because then you're not destroying all the Geth, and then Synthesis, that is definitely the good ending. It fails to encourage the player to be critical and sort of go, hey, wait a minute, that's the Reapers. That there is those fucking guys, and maybe motherfucker is lying to us. Maybe motherfucker is stupid. Maybe motherfucker is wrong, right? It doesn't encourage you as a game, as a narrative. Mass Effect simply doesn't encourage you to do that. Like, it simply doesn't. Which left a lot of players when they came here, like, very unsatisfied, because they were sort of like, oh, I don't get to do anything. I don't get to make a choice or have a decision. I'm just told that there's a good and a bad ending. And which one would you like to pick? Well, obviously I'm going to pick the good ending. I'm not, like, I don't get to have any agency over how this all goes. And that was me too. Like, when I played the game for the first time, that was definitely the headspace that I was in, is that, oh, okay, this felt very, very unfinished. This felt like, oh shit, we don't actually have time to make the big, epic, cool ending that we wanted. So we just had to throw this shit together, like, as fast as possible so we could get 3 buttons down so you can choose which ending you want to have. Which is something, like, that was also, like, a bit of a thing. Like games like Deus Ex, for example, have that same problem, is that they sort of, you come to the end and, well, Deus Ex, Human Revolution, specifically, you come to the end and then it's just like, press the button that makes the ending that you want to have for the game, and then and then that was sort of like all you really got. It was a problem that games had before, and so seeing this happen in Mass Effect, to a lot of people, like, probably sort of took them back to to that particular idea. Certainly it did for me. What made me more angry, though, is what's about to come next. Which is the other nuance, by the way. It shows us that Anderson would have made this choice, and we know that Anderson is, you know, a good guy, whereas the Illusive Man is a motherfucker.
All fleets, the Crucible is armed. Disengage and head to the rendezvous point. I repeat, disengage and get the hell out of here.
Joker, listen. We have to go. Damn it.
And I believe it is the love interest who will usually be joining Joker. That's like the first one out.
The war is over. The Reapers have been defeated. Against all odds, and in the face of the greatest threat this galaxy has ever known, we survived. We suffered many losses. The relays are severely damaged, but we won. This victory belongs to each of us. Every man, woman, and child. Every civilization. On every world. Now, as we take our first steps toward restoring what we lost, we must remember what it took to win. This wasn't a victory by a single fleet, a single army, or even a single species. If this war has taught us anything, it is that we are at our strongest when we work together. And if we can put down our grievances long enough to stop something as powerful as the Reapers, imagine what we can achieve now that they are defeated. It will take time, but we can rebuild everything that was destroyed. Our homes, our worlds, our fleets and defenses, all of this and more. Together, we can build a future greater than any one of us could imagine. A future paid for by the sacrifices of those who fought and died alongside us. A future that many will never see. And while we still have many challenges ahead of us, we can face them together. And we will honor those who died to give us that future.
So, you know how I said what happened next was what pissed me off? Well, that was sort of kind of true. See, because when I played this game for the first time, what happened was you fired the weapon, and then red light, and then shit, like Normandy crash lands on a planet, and then cut to black. None of that ending monologue there. None of like the little screenshot showing what the crew members were doing and how things turned out, or like a wrap up of what actually happened to the crew or the people who were on it. None of that. It just cuts to this shit. Right fucking just straight to the fucking credits. Which is why they linger so long on that thing of like people emerging into a new Garden of Eden kind of thing, because that was supposed to be the climactic imagery that sort of sets up to a cut to black, then the credits roll. And that... Ooh, I was mad. Oh, boy, I was pissed off back then. And not because Shepard dies. Not because not because the ending itself is bad. The thing that made me angry was that throughout 3 games, I had become attached to these characters, to this world, to these people. I wanted to see what might happen to them next, like where the story might take them after all of this. And the game just gave me nothing. Like, the game just literally just like, yo, you want to know what happens to your crew? Fuck you. Set us straight the cut to black. Without telling us what the outcome of our choice was. That's the other thing, is like that we make all of these choices in the game. It's a game so much about like you make choices, you decide the outcome, you like influence the outcome of the galaxy. And then at the very end, they just deny you. Like you make a choice and then I don't know what happened. Fuck you, figure out. We don't care. Like it doesn't matter what you chose. Fuck it. And that's the other thing. No matter what ending you choose, like no matter what you do, you're gonna get the Citadel charging up and shooting a laser beam and exploding. That's gonna happen no matter what. Like and the cutscene of what happens when the Citadel shoots the laser beam is 99% exactly the same no matter which ending you choose. Like in the Control ending, the Reapers sort of like float up and fly away, and in the Synthesis ending, they just kind of stop attacking. And the same thing with all the like the Reaper creatures and shit. But other than that, identical, like completely identical. And so for a lot of people, when we reached the end of Mass Effect 3, this game was like, oh, your choices shape the galaxy. Like everything you do has a huge influence. Things will be so different depending on what Shepard chooses to do. And we get to the end, and it's the same exact fucking copy-pasted cutscene, no matter what choice we make. Yeah, a lot of people were not super satisfied with that back then. For me, that didn't matter as much as the game denied me any sense of follow-up with the characters. Like, with the people that I had spent so long with, I didn't get to see what happened to them, where they were, like, what they thought, what happened. Like, did Garrus miss Shepard forever? Right? Like, did he sit on a beach somewhere and, like, raise a drink to her? Anything like that. That was what I was very pissed about missing. There was also a lot of other controversy, like from sort of gamer piss boys, like, you know, the usual crowd of people who were so like, they were mad that they didn't get to win, like that Shepard died and that sucked. Like, how can you have an ending where Shepard dies? That sucked. And that's not like, the entire game is telling you that Shepard is going to die from the get-go. Like, immediately the game is setting up that this is about sacrifice. This is about sacrificing everything in the name of victory. Do you get it? You have to sacrifice everything in the name of victory because, like, you're going to have to die. Like, that's just people not really paying attention to what the game is saying. And there was a lot of harassment. That's the other thing that should be said. Like, people got mad, but then there was a lot of harassment. There was a lot of like, hate speech. There was a lot of bullshit directed towards the developers who, like, it wasn't the developers' fucking fault, right? Like, that's something that should be said, is, like, it wasn't the developers' fucking fault. Like, they tried to make a game as good as they possibly could in the time that they had available to them, and there was no point shouting at them like that, because a lot of this was determined by EA as well, and by production conditions that they don't really control. So there was a lot of very angry, ugly harassment there, which sort of, yeah, which really should have been a warning of things to come. But people got mad at the ending, for many reasons. For me, it was that it just cut to black and told me to go fuck myself for caring about these characters and wanting to know what happened to them. And yeah, like this, what we're seeing here now is the extended cut of the ending, which was released sometime later, where there's a different voiceover at the end. And also there's a whole bunch of things. Like, for example, the thing where I took Ashley and Javik on the ground mission, I did that because I remembered in the non-extended cut, essentially what happens is your crew members are incinerated by the laser. Like, they just die, is sort of what the cutscene shows anyway. What they changed here is that now, instead of the crew members just dying, the Normandy actually comes in to evacuate them, and they get to live. Like, that's one of the changes that was made in the extended cut. A whole lot of changes were also made to many of the cutscenes leading up to the conversation with the child. The conversation with the child itself was extended quite substantially. There's a lot more information you can gather. You can talk to them a lot more, find out a lot more things. And of course, the option of just saying "fuck you, no" was added, like of just rejecting the choice entirely, and that leads to its own unique ending. And I think that was a very good decision to add that, like to add the choice to just say "fuck you, this is stupid." I think that helps. I genuinely think that helps a lot in terms of not feeling too disempowered by just being locked into, well, you have to choose 1, 2, or 3, and those are all the endings you have available, and fuck you if you wanted to something more like nuanced or special. And yeah, and by the way, the little cutscene at the end where we see that chest with the N7 dog tag, where you get the breath, and it's clearly, oh hey shit, Shepard is actually alive, woo. That only exists in the destroy ending. That's only if you choose destroy, only if you have high enough effective military strength, then you get to see that. Then you get to see that Shepard maybe survived. And that is another thing that's sort of evidence in favor of the indoctrination theory, that the intelligence has tried to lead you towards any other option than destruction, because the other options will require you to die and will allow it to persist, right? Like, it's trying to do self-preservation, and that the right choice, even though the other endings are more difficult to unlock, even though there's all these things pushing you towards making these other choices, that is the right ending. That is the one where you get to have essentially a happy ending, where Shepard gets to live. And one thing that the ending of Destroy never shows, by the way, in a little bit of what I think is actually quite good ambiguity, is the Geth being destroyed, or EDI being destroyed. Like, they don't show up, they aren't there, but they're never shown being destroyed either.
Did that all really happen?
Yes, but some of the details have been lost in time. It all happened so very long ago.
When can I go to the stars?
One day, my sweet.
What will be there?
Anything you can imagine. Our galaxy has billions of stars. Each of those stars could have many worlds. Every world could be home to a different form of life. And every life is a special story of its own.
Tell me another story about the Shepard.
It's getting late, but okay. One more story.
This, though, is incurably lame. Like, this sucks so bad. This was always there. This is sort of the denouement at the very end that sort of implies that, like, oh, thousands of years in the future, maybe, probably, there's some, like, this grandfather will be telling the history of everything that happened in the Mass Effect series was a story that this granddad was telling to his kid, and it's like, you have been remembered as the shepherd, like, the one who shepherded life throughout this, and it's like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, that is so lame, that sucks so much. That is such a jack-off. Like, that is such an attempt to raise... Like, what it is an attempt to raise the consequences of the story into the realm of the mythic, to make Mass Effect itself essentially a kind of folklore. The vibe of, like, having this whole little sequence at the end where you're sort of just congratulating yourself on how fucking good your story is. And it landed especially badly with the ending in the original state that it was in, where a lot of people, and I do mean a lot of people, just did not get the communication and the takeaway from it that the Mass Effect team probably hoped that they would. Like, that landed poorly, and I still to this day think that's really like, that's wanky. And now, with the extended ending where we already get the ending monologue from either Admiral Hackett or EDI in the synthesis ending, I think, and then think it's Shepard in the Control ending. Like, Shepard, who's now like a disembodied intelligence, delivers the monologue at the end. Like, now that monologue exists in the game, which it didn't previously, it also just feels superfluous. Like, to have like yet another denouement sort of wrapping up the story at the very end after you already had a denouement wrapping up the story at the very end. Kind of sucked. And like, I still think that the Mass Effect 3 ending misjudged what people needed and wanted from Mass Effect as a game, in the sense that I still think that it sucks that more time was like, the extended cut ending is definitely better, but I still think it sucks that the focus of the ending wasn't on what happens next. That the focus of the ending wasn't on what happened to the people that you came to love, what happened to the characters, what happened to the world that you got invested in. Like, they still did not pay off that investment. Like, at the very end of the game, they still kind of go, yeah, but you don't care about that, do you? Like, that's not important. Who cares? Who gives a shit? Who gives a shit what happened to the world? Who gives a shit what happened to the characters? What matters is that we have our little philosophy session with the Space Child about whether organics or synthetics can live together in peace, where I'm kind of sitting there like, no, we already fucking know that because I did the Geth mission. I already did that. So what are you doing sitting here like flipping out with it? We've kind of already answered that question, right? For me. And what I cared about, what I wanted from Mass Effect at that point, was I wanted to know what happens to Garrus, what happens to Tali, what happens to, like, even fucking Miranda and Ashley. Like, what happens to them? Where they get, like, does Ashley ever really get over her xenophobia, for example, is something that I would love to know. Like, Tali living on her new homeworld, does she ever actually settle down? Does she ever actually become able to stay in one place like that? Garrus, who's sort of gone through so much and changed so much as a person, like, how does he react to losing Shepard like that? Or any of the love interests, how do they react to losing Shepard? Those are the things that mattered to me at the end of Mass Effect, was the characters, it was the world. That was what I had invested in. That was what I had invested my emotions and my time and my feelings and my care into. I had not really invested all my time and feeling and my care into a rather hastily pulled out sort of, oh no, yes, actually the central conflict of Mass Effect, what this entire series has been about, definitely right from the start, is can organics and synthetics live together in harmony? Because that's what that's what the child at the end wants the conversation to be about. I think, again, you should consider that maybe the child is lying and just saying whatever shit is beneficial to its own survival, to the Reaper's survival. Like, I think it's fair that the child doesn't care about that the child is trying to redirect the conversation towards something very grand and philosophical rather than the actual present stakes of the narrative. That makes sense as a thing for that character to do. But the game itself, like the narrative, the story itself, I really feel should have cared more. Or I felt like it cared more about the world of Mass Effect, the aftermath, what comes next, what happens to the characters we love, right? But yeah. That's the end of Mass Effect. Want to go back and do it again? Sorry.
Commander?
Afraid not. But we can, anytime we want to, because in video games nothing is ever truly permanent, and the game dumps you back here before the assault on the Cerberus base, I believe, so you can do the DLC, in case you haven't done it yet. This is the place where, like, I loaded Mass Effect back up and played the Citadel DLC for the first time, after having received the very disappointing ending, and, like, thinking back on the party that was in the Citadel DLC, you can maybe see where, for me, someone who was so starved for, oh my god, what the fuck happened to the characters I love? I was so starved for that, you can see why I became so enamored with the Citadel DLC when it came out, because it just gave me everything. I was like, oh my god, thank you, please, for the love of God. I get to hang out with them, I get to see them. Ah, my babies. You know, my Blorbos. But that was Mass Effect 3. That was all of it. And that was all of the Mass Effect series. Well, except for Andromeda, I suppose. I don't know if I'm gonna play that. I fucking should, though, shouldn't I? Tell you what, once we know when Mass Effect 4 is coming out, because apparently BioWare are working on it, once we know when Mass Effect 4 is coming out, I'll do a playthrough of Mass Effect Andromeda on this channel as well. But now, it is time to get ready for the Tears of the Kingdom, which is coming out in like 5 days as I'm recording this. Probably will have come out already by the time you're seeing it. and Final Fantasy XVI, both of which will be on this channel, and probably, again, by the time you see this, maybe they are on this channel already. So if you've enjoyed playing through the entirety of the original Mass Effect trilogy, not the Mass Effect series, with me, you can hit the like, comment, and or subscribe buttons down below. That'll let you know when new episodes of stuff come out. You can become a channel member to get early access to episodes before anyone else does. You can subscribe or just follow my Twitch channel to watch me record games live every once in a while. And that's it, I think. That's all the self-promotion. Thank you, genuinely, for spending this much time with me playing through these games. Thank you for your attention and your interest. And thank you for indulging me in making this weird thing my job somehow. Be kind to one another. Have solidarity with those who are worse off than yourselves. And may the tides of history wash gently over us all.